Are the terrorists fracturing? Is NATO poking the bear? Russia in love? It's PNN. Hello and welcome back to PNN, your Polandball News Network. Well, it seems that things never stop in this world, and yet again we've had yet another busy week. So without any hesitation, let's get right into it, shall we? First up on the agenda, I have some new drama from the Gaza Strip. Who doesn't like some Gaza drama? This area never fails to regularly produce a juicy story. This week we have heard reports that the leadership of Hamas is displeased with their hosts, Hezbollah, over their lack of participation in the war against Israel. Apparently the gruesome twosome had struck a backroom deal before the October 7th attacks that they would carry out the raids together, with Hamas striking Israel from the Gaza Strip, while Hezbollah would rain missiles down upon them from Lebanon in the north, before launching their own attack. It was a genius plan, a multi-front pincer attack from all sides, just like the Arab-Israeli War of 1948. Absolutely foolproof. Only, it would have been foolproof if Hezbollah decided to stick to the plan and carry out their side of the bargain. Instead, they never attacked and decided to leave their Hamas homies out to dry. Oh, and by the way, they lost that war in 1948 anyways, so I don't know if it's a good example to look up to and follow. Well, this perceived cowardice on behalf of Hezbollah has caused Hamas to cry out and claim that Hezbollah had only declared war on Israel for the clout, while not actually planning on doing anything meaningful. Well, I don't really blame them. Hezbollah probably saw Hamas get Israel's horns after pulling their tail and said to themselves, hey, now, I don't want none of that smoke. It's one of the first smart things they've done in this war. The war in the Gaza Strip has only been going on for just over 100 days now, and the oaths in Hamas and Hezbollah are already turning on each other. But is anybody even surprised? There's something about violent extremist groups that are set in their ways that really prevents cohesive teamwork. To add to the rift between the two, it was announced that some of Hamas's leadership would be fleeing from Lebanon, fearing assassination at the hands of the Israelis. I guess that means that they doubted the ability of their Hezbollah friends to keep them safe. Not an unwise choice. If the Mossad can nab people all the way in Argentina, I'm sure finding somebody in neighboring Lebanon would be a cakewalk for them. Now, all of this begs the question, where will Hamas hide now? First they left their sanctuary in Qatar, now Lebanon. Where's next? Will they return to the Gaza Strip to partake in the war that they started? No, of course not. That would be way too dangerous. In other news, the United Kingdom has deployed 20,000 of its own troops to Eastern Europe to engage in the NATO exercise called Steadfast Defender, the biggest NATO exercise ever held. This announcement comes on the heels of an onslaught of threats from Russian officials spewing out nonsense about taking back the Baltics and Poland after they're done with Ukraine. Now, this is funny to me. They talked a big game about taking Kyiv in 3 days, and now that they're just shy of 2 years into this war with less than 20% of Ukraine's territory under their control, and now they're licking their lips looking at Poland? I guess it's true what they say about Russian vodka. It is some of the best, and whatever they're drinking must be pretty strong for them to think that they can conquer Poland. Leaving aside the fact that Poland is a member of NATO, which would result in Russia immediately getting gang beat, the Poles on their own could probably handle the fight. Imagine Poland like a really angry fighting dog that's been abused all of its life and is trained to smell out Russians and attack them specifically. Now, that mad dog is just waiting for its owner to let go of the leash, because let me tell you, Poland is done being hurt and they are done playing games. Naturally, as you would assume with something like this, the goal of this NATO exercise is to simulate a Russian invasion of Eastern Europe so that the NATO allies will know how to react if they wish to stop it. Hopefully the brain trust at NATO was paying attention to the early days of the invasion of Ukraine and emptied out all of their gas stations of fuel ahead of this simulated attack. From what I saw, the best thing at stopping a convoy of invading Russians is the Russians themselves. It takes true incompetence to have a 60-kilometer convoy of military vehicles and forget to bring gasoline. The Russian military vehicles were stalled out in a big line like a big useless steel caterpillar. For the Ukrainians hitting the limp, flaccid convoy, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. You had to see it to believe it. It was great. Now, don't get it twisted. The Russian government does not strictly deal in acts of warfare and antagonization, even though it may seem that way most of the time. On rare occasions, they also engage in diplomacy, and lately they've been very diplomatic with the North Koreans. Forget Hamas and Hezbollah. These are the real gruesome twosome. Just this week, Russia hailed North Korea as their closest neighbor and partner as they work to develop and improve the relations in all areas. I guess all it takes to win Russia's heart is some artillery shells and out-of-date missiles. Wait, what's that sound? I think I hear something. Is that crying? Oh, it's only Belarus. There. I know you wanted to be Russia's favorite after agreeing to that stupid Union State thing. Seems like you're always the bridesmaid and never the bride. Maybe you can toss some old artillery shells their way. Might change their mind. Works out for the Koreans. It seems that Russia is forging its new axis to oppose the West every single day. I'm sure they feel very confident in their abilities when they know that they have the powerhouses of North Korea, Belarus, Syria, and Iran having their backs. The United States, beware. Ooh. Speaking of North Korea, just this week their dear leader called for their national constitution to be revised to ensure that South Korea is listed as their primary foe, while warning the South that they would not avoid war if it were to pop up. Now, considering the Korean War never technically ended, I'm not too sure that South Korea needs to be reminded who their primary foe is. But I am sure that they're flattered that their enigmatic brothers to the north still think about them so much. It's kind of sweet. Well, that's all of the news that I'm willing to cover for this week. Thanks for tuning in to PNN, your Polandball News Network. And be sure to tune in next time when we move into our fancy new studio. It's going to be great. Well, goodbye, and as always, have a wonderful day.